Hey you guys, it's Tuesday night. We're gonna make some amazing pasta. I'm also going to be cooking up a spaghetti squash for myself. My kids and my husband will all eat the pasta. We are going to be making 100% whole wheat spaghetti pasta from Azure Standard. And a delicious sun-dried tomato creamy topping, so that should be really, really good. That's what's on the menu here tonight. And it should be a pretty quick recipe, we'll see. Sorry I am late. We had a vacation this weekend, a getaway that was great for my husband and myself. But just getting back into like the rhythm of everything. I had the kids work on oiling our concrete floor in the addition so that it's waterproof. And I can't be in the area when they do that because they're using odorless mineral spirits to make the concrete soak up the tongue oil. And that's really bad for pregnant people, even though it's odorless. So that's why I'm late, is because I had to wait at least 30 minutes for it to evaporate for me to come back in my house. And it's raining right now. So this gives you an idea of where I've been. But we're here. We're going to get rolling. I'm going to get the spaghetti squash ready to go in the oven first. If you are live, comment down below what you're eating for dinner tonight. It's definitely fall weather here now. So this is a spaghetti squash that I grew inside my garden. I didn't get a ton of these this year, which was kind of disappointed because I actually enjoy spaghetti squash. That's nice. This one I had to harvest early, so it wasn't quite done yet, and that's why the seeds have all sprouted. Still safe to eat. Just got to get some seeds out of there. I'm doing good, just trying to get back into the swing of things. I've never had 3.5 days away from my farm and my kids before. So it's just getting back into like, this is my life. I love my life. It's busy, but I love it. So I'm working through that. I've got to start getting my meals ready for a baby because that's coming up really quick. So I'll be videotaping what I can on those meals. It's not going to be a ton of freezer meals. There'll be a few. I'm going to mainly have things that are prepped and ready into the freezer that you can add canned goods to for the meals. Okay, so we got this completely de-seeded. And what I'm going to do is get a baking sheet out. Actually, that might fit. Will that fit in the 13 by 9? That might fit in the 13 by 9. Let's check. Kind of big. I've also been searching my kitchen for things because my mom was here this weekend, and sometimes when you can't find where things go, you just kind of guess. So it's been kind of wild. But I'm very, very grateful that my parents watched my kids for 3.5 days so we could have a getaway. So that's actually quite the undertaking when you have a whole farm to take care of. Okay. The seeds will go out to the chickens. They'll love some sprouted seeds. And I'm going to go ahead and put coconut oil on the inside of these spaghetti squash. Some people use olive oil, but the problem with olive oil is that's not a stable oil to be baking with. And we're going to be baking these at 425 degrees. So we want to make sure whatever oil we're using on the inside is going to not go rancid or change its molecular structure when it's heated. So we're just going to oil that one and oil the next one. And like I said, we will be making regular pasta as well for this yummy sauce to go on top. For the people who want regular pasta. I haven't ever tried, I know there's some grain-free options out on the market. I've tried cassava. Depends on the brand as to whether or not the noodles are good. But there are some options for grain-free people. I just so happen to have the spaghetti squash, so that's what I'm going to eat. while on vacation, I had an appointment with my naturopathic doctor in Mankato, Minnesota. Her link is down below if you're interested in seeing her virtually. Her name is Abby. And she tested my body. We were just kind of playing around with some of the machines to see what she could do. And my gut was so angry by the time we got to full day number 2 of eating out for all of my meals, that it was coming up that I had, what was it, what is it? I can't remember. Anyways, it's where you have ulcerative colitis. That's what it was coming up as on her machine that she uses. I did not have ulcerative colitis, but I definitely was not feeling the best. We'll say it that way. And so it was interesting because she was so shocked that after just essentially 6 meals of eating out, my system was so angry. But when you consider the fact that everything that I cook, I just sprinkled this with salt. Everything that I cook and consume is properly prepared, fermented, etc. Yeah, eating out 6 times in a row is a lot for my poor gut. So I'm trying to go low grains right now to get things to calm down. Kaya says, hey, hope all's well. Do you normally eat wheat or just not tonight because you have a squash? Okay, so I just answered that. I'm trying to back off of grains right now because the trip really made my gut angry. And so I'm trying to stay low grains for the next couple of days probably. This is going to go in the oven at 425 degrees. If my gut was not angry, I would probably just eat the 100% organic whole wheat pasta that my family is going to eat, but not after my trip. And I know where my gut, the condition my gut is in. I need to kind of cool things down a little. So eliminating grains are a great way to do that when your gut is inflamed and angry. Just take those grains out. And I'm already eating like low to no sugar, and lower carb. So those are all good ideas when your gut is. And unfortunately, mine fits into that category now. All right, so I'm going to use this pot to make the sauce in, but you could use a saucepan or even like a more shallow cast iron. I just love this Dutch oven. It's my favorite pan. I really need to buy another one. I use this all the time. So we're going to go ahead and make the sauce. And I got to see if, I'm going to go check my water filter really quick to see if I have water to put in this other pan for noodles. Oh, we have some. I'm going to start filling a container. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to be doubling this, so ignore the extra amount that I'm going to be adding into the pan. I'm going to be giving you the amounts for 1 pound of pasta. I'm going to be making 2 pounds of pasta because I have a big family. And I have the spaghetti squash that I have to cover with it as well. So 2 tablespoons of butter. I've got some fresh goat's milk. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cups. Let's see, what line is it already on? It is on 6. So if I go down to 2, that's 4 cups. My brain is still kind of on vacation mode too, which has been kind of funny. There we go. So like I said, I'm doubling, but I'm giving the amounts for 1 pound of pasta. So we're going to let this warm up for just a minute. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and add some seasonings to this. So I have garlic granules. You could do garlic powder as well. This is a super easy meal. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder or granules. This is a half of a tablespoon, so I did 2, but I'm going to go ahead and double it. So making double the sauce. Okay. We need 1 teaspoon of healthy salt. So pink Himalayan or real salt or Celtic salt that's gray in color. Let's see, 1 teaspoon. So I'm going to need a different spoon. There we go. Okay. Then the next ingredient is nutritional yeast flakes. Okay. I buy these from Azure Standard. The really sad thing is, like, Bragg's has totally sold out to the World's Agenda now, and so we've got the product Appeal, the Appeal coating on the apples that they're using to make their apple cider vinegar, and you can usually buy nutritional yeast from Bragg's as well. So I just started buying from different people. This is a Frontier Meals product from Azure Standard. This just gives it kind of a slightly cheesy, creamy flavor. We need 2 tablespoons. I'm going to eyeball this because I need 4. My poor water filter didn't get filled up. We went to the library this afternoon because they had a big homeschoolers meeting, and the kids got to do a craft. They got to make these cute little scarecrow faces. Super cute. And then we came home and the kids oiled the floor, which then pushed me outside, and I was like, oh, I have a cooking class soon. That's probably not the best. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start this water back here over high. That's going to be for the noodles in the back pot there. And we're going to keep going on our nice creamy sauce. As soon as I find a whisk. Let's see. Did somebody wash it? Let's cross our fingers. Not sure. I have to use a fork. Not ideal, but you can do it. I just need to get myself another whisk. I keep telling them that. I'm like, I need 2 whisks because every time I thicken something, I use it and then it's dirty and then it doesn't get washed. Alright. Well, I might go to my kitchen sink over here and wash. Do you guys want to see my dishes? We could have a realistic moment here. Look at this. That's this morning's dishes. So exciting news though from the Weston A. Price conference was this past weekend, and they announced it's not going to be in there either, is it? I went on vacation. I know I didn't tell her this. I know I didn't take it with me on my vacation. Anyway, the Weston A. Price Foundation announced this weekend that their 2024 conference, so next fall, in November, is going to be held in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So I will be there because I'm a chapter leader for the Weston A. Price Foundation. And so I will be there helping to schedule and run things. And I'm also hoping to give some demonstration classes. So, kind of, I don't know the dates yet. I don't think they've been announced, I don't think, in November of next year. But that is my plan, because that is really close to my farm. So we'll be there doing whatever they'd like me to do to help, which will be super cool. Okay, we got a clean whisk. Look at that. It wasn't as hard as it looked. Okay. Waiting for the butter to melt. And also, I'm going to grab some tomato powder. 1 second. It's got it going here as well. So you can totally use tomato paste if you want. I gave up my canned tomato products for Azure Standard's tomato powder because it's way cheaper and it's super easy to make your own stuff. So if you have tomato paste, it's 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. But I have the powder, so I'm going to go ahead and just add the powder directly to this. Mine has a few clumps in it, so I'm just going to squish the bag to make sure I don't get any clumps. And I missed a comment. I'm coming for it. Kylie, how cool. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to join the Weston A. Price Foundation so I can receive their info. Yeah! So that is $40 a year, Kylie. You probably already know that. And it's westonaprice.org. And they just, if you scroll down, you can just click become a member. Super easy. So I'm going to go ahead, and the directions for tomato paste are a 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of tomato powder to this, because I would need 2 tablespoons because I'm doubling the sauce. Now, if you're not doubling the sauce and you have the powder, it'd be half of a tablespoon. Or if you have tomato paste, to be 1 tablespoon. So when you're working with the tomato powder, it does take a few minutes for it to reconstitute in the liquid. So I know I mentioned this in my video on making homemade chili powder. You do not judge this powder for several minutes into your whisking, because all of a sudden it gets thick, and if you add more, you end up with way too thick of a product. And we're actually going to thicken this with some cornstarch. If you're avoiding cornstarch, you sure could just use the tomato powder. Or you could add like cream cheese, something like that to thicken. I also, this last weekend, I made a really yummy soup. And I used some fermented and cooked white beans. I think they're a Great Northern. And I pureed those and used those to thicken the sauce for this soup. It was so good. So there are a lot of options on how to thicken things. Hey, Carissa, it's been so long since I've seen you. You're on. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, it's been like forever. It's been like a year or something. I'm so glad you're back. Anyway, there's several different ways to thicken something. So just because you can't have cornstarch doesn't mean you can't thicken something. You just have to think outside the box. Okay, so this is just about ready, and I'm going to add some cornstarch. But you could add blended navy beans that have been fermented and cooked already, or sprouted flour, or arrowroot powder, cassava flour, any of those things that are nice, good thickeners. Because this is just about ready to come up to a simmer, and that's what we need to add a thickener. So as far as the thickener goes, we're going to start at 2 tablespoons of thickener and work our way up just to see how much we need. Depending on what type of thickener you're using will depend on how much you need. Super easy recipe though. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 tablespoons cornstarch. I'm going to do 1 at a time and make sure I whisk it in between. It's so cool when somebody disappears and all of a sudden they come back. Carissa, I'm so happy you're here tonight. That is so cool. Okay, the first tablespoon is whisked on in. I'm going to go ahead and add the second. And of course, I'm going to be doubling this, so I'm going to add 2 more after this as well. I'm pretty excited about the conference because it's so close. I know I'm going already, and I would love to do whatever demonstrations they need done as far as classes for cooking and stuff go, and or fermenting. I'd love to help with that. That would be right up my alley. And 1 more on my end. Like I said, for a single recipe, you only need 2 tablespoons to start. Okay, we're going to let this come to a simmer, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more water to this back pot because it's starting to steam off. You guys can see that. So I'm going to check my water filter over here. So as a special note for those of you guys who have Berkey, which is what I have, oh, right there, I switched to radiant filters like a year ago. They're actually cheaper per gallon, and they do a better job, and they do not leave aluminum in your water in the bottom chamber when they take out their fluoride and arsenic. So I went ahead and switched. And so if you're interested in doing that, if it's right into your Berkey setup already, and that's radiantlifecatalog.com, and right on the main page it will pop up, and it'll say water purification or something. You just click on that. And it takes you right to it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add to this pot down here with the sauce is 1/3 cup of sun-dried tomatoes. So this is just tomatoes that I dehydrated in case you missed that, that video I did. So I'm going to be looking for somewhere close to 2/3. And this is just going to add a ton of flavor. If you want to use fresh tomatoes, you sure can. You'll have to add a little more thickener. But we're after that like summertime tomato flavor. And it's fall here, so we don't have a ton of tomato flavor. I have some inside the fridge that were just getting done in the fall, which don't have as vibrant of a flavor, I don't think, as summer tomatoes. Just adding a little bit more water to this. We're going to come back up to a boil, and we're at our spaghetti. Okay. And this is getting nice and thick down here. So we're adding the tomatoes because it's going to start changing this to a deeper red color, and it's going to add the flavor of the tomatoes to the sauce. I also like to add extra butter whenever I'm making a creamy sauce. No, everyone loves extra butter. If we're making a creamy soup, I add extra butter. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in, on my end, probably 3 tablespoons of extra butter to the recipe. It just makes for a creamier sauce, and no one ever complains. So when it comes to noodles, if you can find sprouted noodles, that'd be better than this option. Azure Standard doesn't carry sprouted noodles, and neither does my local grocery outlet stores. And so we don't eat a ton of pasta here. If you've been watching my channel and you scroll through any of my other live cooking classes, you'll rarely see a recipe that has pasta in it. And that's because this is whole wheat, but this whole wheat hasn't been properly prepared. It hasn't been sprouted. It's not sourdough. And so you're still dealing with the enzyme inhibitors and phytic acid within the wheat when you consume this. So the rule of thumb is, just like with any other toxin in life, keep that level of phytic acid that you're consuming as low as possible. Do the best you can. So for me, I try to swap out recipes as far as ones that call for pastas, and switch them over to fermented rice recipes, which I could have done with this one actually, but I didn't have any fermented rice ready to go. Or you can do what I do, which is just eat it sparingly, or pay the extra money and try and find somewhere to buy sprouted noodles or sourdough noodles, or make your own noodles. But I just wanted to say that. That's one reason why you guys don't see a ton of pasta on this channel. Because it's not properly prepared, and I'm trying to keep the phytic acid levels low for my family. Okay, so this needs probably 1 more tablespoon of cornstarch. It's come to a simmer now, and you can go ahead and judge whether your mixture on your end needs more cornstarch. Kai says, do you have any thoughts on eating einkorn or kamut than other wheat varieties? Depends on your gut. Depends on how your body handles them. Some people say they can handle einkorn without a problem. But once again, those are all still seeds that are all still not properly prepared. So you'd want to do sprouted einkorn or sourdough einkorn noodles. Because anything that's a seed of the earth is going to have that phytic acid. It's going to have the enzyme inhibitors in it. And you're going to want to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off of this. You're going to want to make sure that those things are properly prepared if you're going to be eating pasta on a regular basis. And for me, I have a really big family, or some, I don't know, I can't say really big. I don't have 12 kids, but going to be having 6 kids. And it's a lot of mouths to feed, and sprouted noodles are a lot more expensive than regular. And so, like I said, I've just chosen to limit our pasta consumption and go from there. So this is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it off the heat because cast iron holds the heat, and so does my glass cooktop. I'm just going to move it over. But I'm also going to add chicken to this. This was originally a vegan recipe and dairy-free and, well, pretty much everything free. And I've altered it so that it's more nutrient dense and has more goodies in it. So we're going to go ahead and add chicken to the cream sauce. And this is our homegrown chicken that we rendered this fall. So it's pastured chicken, and I just cook the whole chickens down and I freeze the meat in 1 pound packages. So this is 1 pound of chicken. And my water in the back is totally ready for me to add noodles. Okay. So we'll do that next, and then I'm going to stir this cream sauce and show you guys how nice and thick it became. It's beautiful. Okay, you guys probably all know how to add noodles to a pot, but here we go. I typically break mine in half. I know some people like to cook them whole. I break them in half because William isn't the best at eating noodles that are whole quite yet. They get really, really long, and I have some kids that like to slurp them, and that can get kind of messy at the table. So I'm just going to take and just break them in half. They're right into the water. But you could use, you don't have to use spaghetti noodles. You could use any shape that you'd like for this. In fact, like a penne where it has the hole in the center. I love that for a creamy sauce because it holds lots of sauce inside the noodle. It's one of my favorite noodles for sauces. Okay. There we go. I did have a question come in. It's come in a couple of times, and since the topic is sealing concrete and stuff, I'll talk about it. So for my concrete and my countertops and my cutting boards, I use something that's called tung oil. It's spelled T-U-N-G and then oil. And it's sold by realmilkpaint.com. I'm not an affiliate. I get nothing for telling you this little trick. But you buy that, and then they sell, if you're going to use it on your countertops or on your cutting boards, you would buy their citrus solvent, which is made out of oranges, and you would mix it 50-50 and apply. If you're going to do something like a concrete floor or a wood floor, you would buy their odorless mineral spirits, and you mix it 50-50. And what that will do is it waterproofs the surface. So on all of my butcher block countertops, it is all tung oil and citrus solvent. And on my cutting boards, the same thing. And on my floors, it's a combination of the tung oil and mineral spirits. So that waterproofs all of the surfaces in my house. Easy cleanup because concrete is something that will soak up liquids and stains. And so it needs to be sealed somehow. But we designed our house so that when you go barefoot, you can earth inside our home. We built our home ourselves, and so we didn't put a barrier between the concrete and the earth. And so when you're actually barefoot in my house, you're earthing or grounding yourself. And I want it to be that way, but you can't seal your concrete with the clear chemicals that they put on concrete to seal it and still have that. It's a barrier between you and the earth. And so I wanted something that was natural that would still waterproof my concrete but allow us to earth in our home. Just to help get rid of the stuff you get from electricity and Wi-Fi and all that sort of thing, cell phones. It's a good way to discharge off some not so nice ions and maintain good health. So once again, that's realmilkpaint.com. Tung oil is spelled T-U-N-G oil. And I use it on all my countertops and my butcher block, butcher block countertops and my cutting boards. Okay, so this is going to boil. I'm going to set a timer because I'm horrible with noodles. We don't eat them enough for me to be good at this. So, let's see, the box says, what, 10 minutes? Where are you at? 11 minutes. It's probably been a good minute though, so we're going to go with 10, okay? Had somebody comment a whole bunch on my videos for the chicken feed this week, so I was busy. I didn't answer back anyone's comments over the weekend because I was on a getaway with my husband, but I did get back to you. And if you haven't heard from me, if you email me and you haven't heard from me, please don't hold it against me. I don't understand what's happening with my email alerts. They are turned on, but I'm not receiving them. It is the strangest thing in the entire world. So I'm trying to remind myself to check my email once a day. Take a look at the sauce, because it's yummy. See if you guys can see it on camera, how nice and thick it got. It's nice and creamy. So this is going to get poured either over the pasta or over the, what is it? It's the oven. Spaghetti squash. Drawing a blank. But this is absolutely delicious. So basically what happened was the dried tomatoes soak up the liquid, but they distribute their flavor throughout the whole sauce. And you've got chicken in there and a nice creamy base. It's nice and thickened. And we've got noodles that are going to be done in 8 minutes, so that'll be good. Let's see, what else is going on? Let's see, I don't know. I'm trying to remember to drink my pregnancy tea. For those of you who are pregnant and expecting a baby, once you get out of your first trimester, you can start drinking red raspberry leaf tea. And this is my favorite tea company. I'm not a huge tea person, and I'm also not an affiliate. I'm not going to earn any money. But bulkherbstore.com is amazing, and they sell a Mama's Red Raspberry Brew that you can drink. And it just helps like strengthen your uterus and have an easier labor, which is totally worth it. They also sell the other tea that I talked about in the past for the vitamin C, the vitamin, what is it called? Urban C, I think, tea. That's really good to avoid being sick, which is good. Let's see, what else? What else do we have? We just have a mess behind me. It's just one of those things where I'm getting back into life, and I'm getting back from vacation, and I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I only have so much time until baby, and I've got a lot to get done. So, things are kind of everywhere. But the houses are connected. William is on the other side of the oil, so he will not be able to come tonight to have milk because the floor is all oiled. Let me see if I can show you guys. So there's no door here anymore. There used to be a door. Whoop. Right there used to be a door. So I can only go to here because the floor is oiled. But go straight through and there's our living room. So anyway, the floor is all oiled so nobody can really walk on it. I'm stuck on that side for a little while. I don't even know what time it is. Let me check. Might be time for the girls to wipe off the oil. So the way the tongue oil works is you do a coat. And then you come back in 1 hour with a cloth, a clean cloth, and you wipe it to get any of the excess off, and then wherever the dry spots are, you apply more. And the more, there's two different types of colors of tongue oil there on the website. There's one that will like turn your ButcherBox countertops like a reddish color, which is super pretty. And then there's a lighter color, which is the one I have. With concrete, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to change your concrete to red. But it would give it a deeper color, if that makes sense. So that is boiling. I'm going to get a colander. All right. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, wow. I didn't know about grounding inside a house. I would love a small tour once it's all done. Yeah, I'd love it to be all done. It is a work in progress because for those of you guys who don't know, we've been here on the land for 3 years and we're doing this completely debt-free with cash. And so we started out, basically we had to choose this way. It was chosen for us because my husband used to have a construction business and it was always his dream that we would build our own home. And when we found this land, he had already switched from his own business to working for someone else again. And even though he had his own license, we still had insurance. The bank will not allow you to take out a mortgage and build your home. And the reason why is because what if you don't finish it? What if you build it, shoddy? They want you to hire someone else. And so, because of that, and it was my husband's dream to build a home, we decided to do the crazy thing. And in the first building that's over there, that was 100% off-grid, and we lived with 5 children for 7 months through the South Dakota winter, doing dishes outside. It's pretty brutal for 7 months. And then When spring came, we started on the building I'm in right now, which is our on-grid building. And there's obviously electric here and a flushing toilet and a shower and a water heater and all sorts of things. So this was stage number 2. And then just recently, I want to say July, my husband started on connecting the 2 buildings, because up until now we've had to walk and like shovel snow in the winter between the 2 buildings, and if you had to go to the bathroom at night and it was raining, you got wet between where you slept and the bathroom. So it's been a miracle just to have it connected and not have to put up with the weather if we have to go from one building to the other. But it's just nice to have one house instead of 2. It's all connected. Teaching the children indoor voices has been a struggle because we've been used to yelling across the way because there was no building in between. So it's been quite interesting, but it's good. It's good where we're at, and we're making progress. I'm going to check these noodles really quick. This recipe is not in my cookbook because, like I said, I took it from a vegan recipe website and then made it non-vegan and full of lots of fat and animal proteins and everything that is not vegan. I totally changed this recipe so it's not. So, and sometimes you gotta do that. If you find a really, really yummy recipe that you think you like and it's not nutrient dense, you gotta switch it around. Let me see if this is done. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drain these. You could even do broccoli in this sauce if you wanted to. That'd be really good. I don't typically use nutritional yeast very much unless it's a recipe where I'm trying to imitate cheese or dairy. And this one fits into that category. But you have to be really careful your source for nutritional yeast. Okay, so these are drained, but my tip is we gotta get some butter on that right away, because if we don't, they're gonna get sticky. And then we will have just like one huge clump of pasta versus individual pasta strands. And some people would say I overdo the butter in this situation too, but I don't know there's such thing as overdoing the butter anymore. Okay, you could also coat them in coconut oil if you want. If I did that, my kids would rebel and say, this tastes like coconut oil. So we're just gonna go with what I know works, which is butter. When we did the GAPS diet and we had to be grain-free for so long, my kids became like that person who can't swallow a pill and you stick it in food and they're like, nope, it's in there. And then you stick it in whatever, and nope, it's in there. Well, they became that way with coconut oil and stayed that way with coconut oil, unfortunately. And so it makes it kind of rough to make meals that have coconut oil on it, which is another reason why I bought that palm fruit shortening from Azure Standard, because it can replace butter and coconut oil in a lot of recipes, which is always a good thing. And it's cheaper than butter when you're buying it per pound. So I probably put, I don't even know how many tablespoons, 6 tablespoons probably of butter in here to coat these. This is 2 pounds of noodles though. So that's why I would need so much. I do enjoy sprinkling nutritional yeast on like popcorn. That's usually pretty good. I just have one more little chunk of butter. And I don't even know if my squash is going to be done or not. So I'm going to put the lid on this so it stays nice and hot. And I've removed it from the heat. And if I knew where the lid was, I'd stick it on there. Where did I put the lid? My kitchen needs a cleaning. If your kitchen needs a cleaning too, put it down in the comments. There it is, right here. Who was a snake at what it is? Okay. The spaghetti squash is not done yet. So I started the spaghetti squash not even about 30 minutes ago. So this probably has another 20 minutes. Usually go about an hour. You'll notice that the outside skin out of it starts to turn brown and kind of curl on in. Then it's done. I just shred it with a fork and pour this yummy sauce right on top. So that is dinner, guys. Just in case you missed the deliciousness, here it is one more time. Nice and creamy and ready to go on some noodles. Awesome, awesome. I will be making an event for next week for our cooking class. And I don't know what we're cooking yet, but I'll let you guys. Actually, I do know. But where is it at? I think it's over here. Hang on. Let me see. Next week is chicken pot pie soup. So that will be live for next week. I'm going to do chicken pot pie soup with biscuits. So if you're interested in that, as soon as I put the pre-scheduled event up, make sure you click the notify me button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out. I don't get paid to do my channel at all, not monetized, but it does get the videos out literally to hundreds of more people so they can see how easy it is to make a nutrient-dense meal. So please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. It does make a difference. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining me. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday.